Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. We are going into round 13. My name is Gabby Sparts, and I'm joined here by Pro Tour Hall of Famer Randy Bueller. How are we doing, Randy?
Good.
Awesome. And we have an amazing feature match, an amazing set of feature matches this round, actually. It's going to be great. Our players are ready, so let's head down to the feature match. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to coverage of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. I'm Gabby Sparts, joined here by Randy Bueller, and we are heading into round 13. We promised you a good feature match, and here it is. On the left, we have Reid Duke coming into this tournament trying to get his second PT top 8.
Yep.
He's playing Red-Green Delirium Ramp. We saw a little bit of his deck earlier in the feature matches. But before he can do that, he's going to have a very tough matchup. To the right, we have Luis Scott-Vargas playing Band Company today. Freshly minted off of his last 2 PT top 8s. He is trying to get his third one right here. Our players are ready to go, and their game is underway.
Yeah, Reid is on one of several different Emrakul decks to come out of the Team Pantheon testing process. That team really felt like he wanted to be on Emrakul. They could not agree on what the right shell was. Is it an Emerge deck like the one Owen Turtenwald's playing? Is it Black-Green Delirium, which is where Andrew Cuneo wound up? Reid is actually on more of a Red-Green Ramp-style Emrakul deck. He thinks he's the guy that can get to Emrakul the fastest. Mm-hmm. That's his plan. He is all in on Emrakul as soon as he can possibly set it up. So he's got the ramp and he's got the graveyard shenanigans. Going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And, I mean, obviously, he knew this matchup was one he needed to be ready for. Band Company has not had a great weekend, but Luis just keeps winning with it.
And that's true, and that's something to consider, Randy. How do you think these Red-Green Delirium decks are managing their Band matchup? Because coming into the tournament, they knew they were going to have to face it, right?
Right.
So what do you think he has in the form of preparation against him? Is Kozilek's return going to be just fantastic for him?
It should be, yeah. Kozilek's return is definitely the sweeper. You see a lot of the Black-Green Delirium decks are leaning on Languish as that sweeper. The Band Company deck should be able to come out faster. It should be able to set up a board presence. But if you sweep and then you have the better late game, that's how you're supposed to win.
So it looks like Luis has actually missed a land drop here. He cycled with Jace Prince Prodigy, discarding a Reflector Mage, but didn't manage to find another land. So he's passed it back to Reid now. Ooh, getting on the back foot here with missing land drops. Not something he wants to do here.
Yeah, and to be clear on the stakes here, we believe 12-4 with good tiebreakers should be good enough because there's only 300 people in this Pro Tour. So this is a win and in for top 8 for Reid Duke.
On the other hand here, Reid making sure he makes all of his land drops. Here we see Nissa is going to find a forest for him, and he's just continuing to develop his board here while Luis is starting to get a little bit on the back foot here.
Play my forest.
He's going to play his land, another Vessel, and double Vessel at this point. Should help him find more threats and lands if he needs them.
Yeah, I wonder how ready for this matchup Luis is. It seems like the testing collaboration between Channel Fireball and Ultra Pro didn't really read the metagame correctly. I mean, we just saw Sam do the deck tech where he's talking about how he's soft to Liliana. He's not good against these Delirium decks. And that team split into the Band Company players and the Madness players. What nobody from that team was playing, though, was Emrakul.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can prepare to try to beat the company decks, it's a little tough when, you know, a lot of the decks running around are actually going to be playing Emrakul. So it looks like Selfless Spirit for Luis. He is making his land drops now. He did manage to find another land as well from that Jace, so he's going to pass it back to Reid now. Taking a look at Reid's hand. Looks like he has an Ishkana Graph Widow. Pretty good against that Selfless Spirit. And 2 Dragonlord Atarkas in his hand. Dragonlord Atarka pretty good against the board that Luis has in play right now.
And Reid's on, what, 6 mana already?
14.
Yeah, I believe so.
So 1 mana away from hard-casting Dragonlord Atarka. That's what you're supposed to do on turn 5 or 6, right?
It's what his deck wants to do on turn 5 or 6.
Well, when you can't Emrakul.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll settle for Atarka.
So 1 colorless mana. Use
Looks like he's going to lead off by cracking these Vessels of Nascency. Let's see what he finds. Another vessel, a couple lands, traverse the Ulvenwald.
Grapple with the pass was his draw for the turn, so did not have a Tarka as an option.
And there we see grapple with a pass. We've seen this in all sorts of decks
Such
this
a
weekend.
huge card this weekend. You are
Powerhouse. What do you think of the standard format now that it seems like you can do all these broken things with a graveyard? You're almost using your graveyard as a toolbox, grapple with a pass, allowing you to get these cards out of the yard. Do you have a sense for, oh, hold on, Ishkana, Graph Widow coming in, bringing along some baby spiders as well. These are going to clog up the board, really going to make it very difficult for Luis to attack through this.
I don't think she brings any spiders yet.
Oh, you're right. We don't have Delirium
I
yet.
don't think so.
Yep. Well, 3/5 still blocks 6 Alpha Spirit pretty well.
Right. Reid begins his curve.
Sure.
So Lewis is going to spin the wheel, Collected Company, finding a Soul Tireless Tracker.
And testing. Yeah. This land drops and with some company.
So it looks like Luis still has a Dromoka's Command, a Collected Company, and a Reflector Mage in hand.
Yeah, he really needs to punch through damage quickly. I think he knows the cards in Reid's deck are just more powerful than the cards in Luis's deck. So he's got to do what he can over the course of the next couple turns to try to find a way to punch these 14 damage through.
So Jace transforms, which gives Luis access to all the cards he has in his graveyard that could be potentially flashed back.
I mean, he can cast Collected Company for 3 turns in a row. That's not nothing. I'm honestly not sure it's enough, though.
Yeah, this, especially knowing that, especially knowing what's going on in Reid's hand, it's
2 copies of Dragonlord Tatarka.
Yeah.
I mean, the Selfless Spirit defends a little bit against the first one. The first one will presumably only manage to kill the Spirit. But it's still an 8/8.
Yeah, flying 8/8 flying trample is very difficult to block. So Luis, considering his options here, it looks like he's opting to Reflector Mage. Starting to get a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, bounce the Spider,
Coming in
shrink the Nissa. This allows him to attack with basically everybody.
And he's starting to drop Reid to a life total where he can maybe start trying to punch in enough damage with all the Collected Companies that we know, given what's in Reid's hand, that doesn't seem too likely to happen.
I mean, he's fighting a good fight. He said the Spirit can sort of neuter the first Tatarka. Reid's going to have to choose between Dragonlord Tatarka or Ishkana next turn. It's funny how much this run from Luis reminds me of John Finkel at the last Pro Tour, where he had kind of the quote-unquote wrong deck
Yeah.
with that season's past deck, but he just kept winning with it because he's that good.
Well, you just get these top-tier players who can do stuff like that. Luis's draft deck, that was not a good deck.
Which one? Both? Yeah, he 2-1.
Well,
he went with 5-1 in limited, and neither
5-1
deck
in
looked
limited
particularly
and
good.
yeah. Oh, and Dragonlord Tatarka coming down here.
Oh, so Reid targets the Spirit and Jace. That's pretty smart. The Spirit's going to die anyway, so let's just throw the rest of the damage onto Jace. Makes sense.
Yeah, very nice play by Reid here. This will allow him to eventually take care of Jace Vryn's Prodigy, but yeah, very nice play considering that the Selfless Spirit was going to die no matter what.
Now what?
So Luis considering his options here. This could be a pretty important turn.
He's out of Reflector Mages, right?
Yeah, he's out of Reflector Mages. I mean, he has Collected Company, which could find Reflector Mages, though. Reflector Maging Tatarka does not exactly.
Maybe there's a turn where Reid can't cast it.
It's true. The fact that Reid has another one in hand also.
Yeah, Luis he has no late game. He just has to play a tempo game and figure out a way to punch through 10 damage. All right, here is the Coco.
Collected Company, spin the wheel.
Let's see what we get. There's a Reflector Mage.
There's a Reflector Mage. There's 2 of them.
Huh.
So Collected Mage and, sorry, Reflector Mage and Sylvan Advocate. And in comes everybody. It looks like he's going to be able to close out this game.
5 land, not 6. But that's a big chunk of damage. Reid cannot play Dragonlord Atarka. He's not to Delirium yet, or is he? He's got Enchantment, Land, Creature. Is that it?
He is at Delirium.
He is at Delirium. So Ishkanah brings 3 blockers in an attempt to keep Reid alive long enough to play Atarka again next turn.
Right, so Ishkanah coming in. 3 baby spiders. And enough mana to cast a Sylvan Advocate too.
Ooh.
Defenses are back up.
So 5 blockers.
Yeah.
What can Luis punch through the last 3?
He could chance it with a Collected Company in the yard.
He can now flash it back, right? He ticked up Jace last turn.
Taking a look at Luis's hand. It's a Selfless Spirit, a Dromoka's Command, and a Dromoka's Command.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
Dromoka's Command seems relevant. Still no 6th land, huh?
Here we see on the right Dromoka's Command. Could give Luis a couple of options in the form of taking care of some of those blockers.
I mean, if he fights 2 spiders, and then attacks with 5 creatures?
He opted to crack a clue, putting a counter on Tireless Tracker and drawing another card.
Oh, he only has 1 white mana. He can't cast Dromoka's Command twice. That's the problem. He can only cast 1 copy of Dromoka's Command because he's pinched on white mana. And as a result, 1 copy of Dromoka's Command was not good enough. So Jace ticks up, and he just attacks in.
I'm going to move my creatures around. Yeah, let me know.
All right, so the players are lining up blocks here.
And if that clue had come up with a land to turn the Sylvan Advocates into 4/5s, that would also have been great. Luis's draw has been surprisingly awkward here. Yeah, no 6th land, no 2nd white mana.
An update coming from one of our bag tables. It looks like Antonio De Rosa has beaten Brad Nelson, or sorry, is up a game currently.
I mean, Luis knows this attack isn't going to kill Reid. Well, I guess he's hoping that Reid will try to take 2, and Dromoka's Command can kill him. I will be surprised if Reid lets anything through. He knows there's 4 copies of Dromoka's Command in Luis's list. I expect Reid to block all 5 creatures, especially with Atarka queued up for next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Luis would love for Reid to gamble and try to take 2 down to 1. I just can't imagine that happening. Oh,
Ooh,
there's
it
a
looks like some double
block.
blocks are coming in here.
Is Reid going to risk this Dromoka's Command? It looks like he might.
Oh my goodness.
Holy.
So currently 1/2 powered creature is unblocked with these, which are tentative blocks, but this could be the game. Oh, wow. Dromoka's Command counter.
Kill you.
Kill you. Yeah, and good game. Wow.
Wow.
Luis Scott-Vargas takes the lead here, 1-0 over Reid. Wow. That was insane.
That feels like the kind of scenario there's going to be a lot of conversation about.
Yes, he's going to be thinking about this one for a while, I'm sure. But we have a lot more Magic coming in a second, right after these messages.
Put your game to the test at a Grand Prix. These Magic celebrations are headlined by 2-day open tournaments with the best players in your region, as well as top Magic pros from around the world. Upcoming Grand Prix include Lille, Indianapolis, Guangzhou, Louisville, and Kyoto. Visit magic.wizards.com/Grand Prix for more information. Friday Night Magic is your local hangout where everyone is welcome. Gather with friends at your favorite game store every Friday night. For more info, visit magic.wizards.com/FNM.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to coverage of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. We are in round 13, and we're going to take a look at one of our back tables. The current matchup is Lucas Blohan, who's playing a white-black control deck, versus Takahashi Sen, playing Legendary Naya. I don't know, have you had a chance to see this deck at all?
I have not.
It looks spicy. Both players are currently sitting at 9 and 3. Looks like Lucas is at 14 life, and Zen is at 4.
Oh,
so
okay.
this could
So
be done very quickly.
Legendary Naya means you play Thalia's Lancers to go get a bunch of sweet one-ofs. Dragon Lord Atarka, Linvala, Dragon Lord Dramoka, Archangel Avacyn. Cool deck. It's got a couple evolutionary leaps in there as well.
Speaking to some of the players who brought this deck to the table, they they really wanted to have a spell that costed more than 4 mana, with Spell Queller being such a prevalent force in Standard currently. So
Makes sense.
having something like Thalia's Lancers and all those legends is a way to get around that.
That does make sense. This is Zen Takahashi. I think this story is amazing. I know Rich told it before the round started, but he was not qualified for this event 7 days ago. He only qualified for this event by
That's
making the
nuts.
top 8 of Grand Prix Sydney last weekend and getting enough pro points to push him up to silver, cashed in the silver invite for this Pro Tour, and here he sits in top 8 contention with 4 rounds to go.
I can't imagine what you're supposed to do when you have 6 days or less. It's less than 6 days to prep for the Pro Tour. How
Right.
many days did he have?
Yeah, Sunday night you make the top 8. Thursday
Yeah.
your deck is due.
So
I know
lots
he-
of Thopters for Zen over on the right side of the battlefield, but it looks like Lucas has an active Liliana and ways to kill some of these creatures.
Yeah, these are huge matches for Lucas Blohan. He is on the bubble for an at-large invite to Worlds. He's, I think, slightly below the line coming into the event, but obviously having a good Pro Tour here. Still in top 8 contention, so a ton to play for Lucas.
Life totals Bloodhound 16, Takahashi 2.
So Takahashi against the back wall here, a mere 2 life. Trying to hold on to this. Doesn't want to let go of this top 8 contention. He's on a heater, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So it looks like the Thopter might be attacking Liliana.
Well, he has no chance of winning versus a Liliana
That-
Ultimate.
That's definitely true. It's tough though. He's gonna have a tough time winning on this board.
True.
Period.
All true.
Yeah, this is gonna drop Liliana down to 5. Oh, Linvala the Preserver. That's gonna
Neat.
give him a hefty amount of life.
16, Takahashi 7.
All right, sitting at a 7 life total now. This is pretty comfortable now.
Wow, he's got Hanger back with Evolutionary Leap. This game's not over
Yeah,
yet.
this game turned around in a pinch.
Just fetching the shot.
Looks like Nissa is making an Ashaya here. And this is a dominating board presence now. So let's see what Lucas can do.
For just throwing it in the hands.
Yeah,
So
looks like
Kalita's Trader of Get and Lucas Blohan's hand. You
our
can
main
start-
match, by the way, Reid Duke's taking a mulligan, so certainly keeping an eye on that. But
Duke goes 6 at present, yes.
we talked about how Reid Duke is playing to basically clinch a top 8 berth if he can win this match. Luis Scott-Vargas only needs 2 wins,
Yeah.
so he's playing to earn 3 win-ins.
Both, you were mentioning earlier, both him and Reid, Reid and Owen, both have between the two of them, what,
8 win-ins,
eight
yeah.
eight PT win-ins? This
Not
is
bad.
fantastic for Reid, too. For such a long time, his storyline was how he was such an amazing player that didn't have a PT top 8.
Right.
And now he might just have a second one.
I'm sure that would feel good. Clinches in the world spot, too.
All right, Kalita's Trader of Get coming down for Lucas Blohan. And it looks like this game is still going to be a while. So we will be moving back to our main match as soon as our players have kept their hands. It looks like Reid has taken a mulligan.
Yeah, he's thinking about his 6 right now.
Being able to remove some of Zen's creatures does provide Lucas with some zombies. However, Zen has a dominating board presence now that his life total is not under pressure anymore. He does have to worry about the Liliana.
Reid going down to 5.
Oh, Reid going down to 5.
I think the correct definition for this is not like this.
Well, look, if you're going to have to double mulligan against Luis Scott-Vargas, you want it when you have 3 more chances to clinch top 8 in the next 3 rounds.
That's true. And that's the thing about top 8ing a Pro Tour Tour. You don't just have to be an amazing player and play great. You also have to get a little lucky. So hopefully his bad mulligans get out of the way in this round and he can run it back for the next couple rounds. Looks like Reid has chosen to keep this one and is scrying.
Yeah, we should head back.
Yeah,
to the
we
front
should head
table.
back to the main match. We'll give you updates on what happens on the previous match as it develops.
It's nice to see that legendary Naya deck. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a Lancer's toolkit.
Pretty much,
They
yeah.
have more than Lancers in there. All right, and we're off to the races. So Luis Scott-Vargas' hand, Plains Prairie Stream, Sylvan Advocate, Tameo Field Researcher. Oh, this is coming in from the sideboard.
Yeah, those Tameos hang out in the sideboard and come in a lot of the Delirium matchups. They've looked pretty good for Luis. And maybe one of the reasons he's winning with Bant Company where others aren't is that he understands what he needs to do after sideboarding in a way that has really helped him.
All right, Sylvan Advocate off to a quick start here for Luis. And a pass back to Reid. Vessel of Nascency for Reid. He will be able to crack this vessel as well. Sylvan Advocate getting in there, dropping Reid down to 18. Oops. All right, Jace and the land for Luis. Fire Impulse, land to land, and another vessel. So taking a look at Reid's hand, he has an Ishkana, a Graphwood, a Grapple with a Pass, and Kozilek's Return. Kozilek's Return looking pretty good here because Luis could start running away with this game if he manages to stick that Tammy and just start drawing infinite cards.
Yeah, the hardcast version of it, though, doesn't kill Sylvan Advocate. So, I mean, he could spend this turn killing a Jace. Can he do better than that? Probably not.
He's probably going to have to bank on something bigger, in the Tarka or an Emrakul to either flashback that Kozilek's Return or try to actually take down the Sylvan Advocate. He definitely can't let Luis get away with just drawing 2 cards per turn, especially on a mulligan to 5.
Yeah, it seems like a solid turn.
Your turn.
All right, so down goes the Jace Prince Prodigy, a land for Reid.
16. Fortified Village. I'll show you.
So playing Fortified Village and passing the land. Passing the turn. So he's opted not to play Tameo this turn.
What could Luis possibly have?
Surprise. So unlucky for land so flooded. There's Ishkana. And it's going to resolve. Delirium is online for Reid, so income 3 baby spiders.
Yeah, it's one of those where if Reid cast something that could be Spell Queller, Luis might have responded with a Collected Company to the spell, but can't Spell Queller Ishkana, so he waits for it to resolve. Maybe he could bounce something. No, winds up with a Sylvan Advocate and a Nissa. There are a lot of subtle little decisions like that with the Collected Company deck.
Yeah, it creates an interesting tension having both Reflector Mages and Spell Quellers in the format. And dealing with, cards that cost 4, cards that cost 5 when you're casting them. Looks like Luis just wants to get the card advantage chain going regardless. Tireless Tracker, Selfless Spirit coming down. And the clue in play as well.
Yeah, that turn worked out really well for
Yeah.
him.
3 cards in your hands.
He's still sitting on Tameo, too. 2 lands and a Tameo is Luis's hand.
Reid only has a grapple with a pass, but it does turn on his graveyard. Is that an Emrakul the Promised End that got milled earlier? I think there might be one in the graveyard, so if Reid's able to get close to that, he might be able to wreak some havoc.
Yep. I mean, Reid's put his game plan together pretty well for a double mulligan. He got to Delirium and Ishkana by turn 5. Hard to ask for a lot more than that from a double mulligan. And that's after killing a Jace on the way up.
All right, so Luis considering his options here. He's got a couple of them, but his attacks are a little difficult with all these spiders. Something you mentioned earlier, Randy, about banned sideboard, post board. Do you think you guys did the metagame breakdown, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there's an overestimation of how good Band Company is? Given we haven't really seen Band Company do well this weekend,
It
right?
got crushed on day one.
Right.
Got absolutely destroyed.
Do you think maybe they weren't prepared in terms of the sideboard or expecting Emrakul style decks?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just found ways that they could go bigger in the long game.
Yeah.
Sweepers and Emrakul is just appears to be a winning strategy in general.
Yeah. Well, no one's going to argue that Band Company's not great, but it seems like it's poorly matched up against all these Emrakul decks.
Yeah.
So Tamiyo coming down for Luis Scott-Vargas.
He goes down. He uses the -2 ability to tap 2 of Reid's creatures.
Yeah.
Trying to clear a
on
path.
one of the spiders, and wow, in comes the team. He also has 6 lands now too.
Most of the team. Selfless Spirit is
Yeah.
a little skittish.
Reid considering his blocks here. Losing to his blockers makes it significantly harder, and being at 16 life also not exactly where you want to be when the board is this clogged up from Luis's side. All right, so here come the spiders. And if you're keeping track, an update from one of our back tables, Andrew Brown wins 2-0 versus Oliver Polak-Rotman. And Brad Nelson is currently 1-1 versus Antonino De Rosa.
I'm at 4.
Looks like he's chosen to double block with the spiders and take down the Nissa, but this board is looking not good for Reid.
Yeah, he took 12.
Cast Emrakul.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That was,
He got to Emrakul.
yeah. All right, so Emrakul the Promised End and pass. This is Reid controlling Luis's turn. Current hand, Forest Evolving Wilds, Yavimaya Coast, and an Ojutai's Command.
Target player gains 4 life.
Ah,
I don't think it does that.
Ojutai's Command coming in a little bit too late.
yeah, we saw Luis lose yesterday. The one match that he lost yesterday was to Emrakul.
And having 3 lands and couldn't counter it.
Yeah, it was really
Yep.
1 blue mana was his problem. He got to 7 lands by the end of that game, but with
Yeah,
only
but
one
only
source
one
of
blue
blue.
mana, yeah.
He just couldn't do 2 things in a turn and was not able to use Ojutai's Command.
-2, targeting your 2 Sylvan Advocates.
Ugh.
Cast
Tamiyo commits suicide to lock down 2 Sylvan Advocates. That's
That
Selfless
it's
Spirit.
not a great play
pretty-
for Luis.
Sacrifice Selfless Spirit.
So sacrificing Selfless Spirit. Yeah, so Luis now pretty much out of cards, out of a
Wow.
Tamiyo, without a board. Well, they will untap soon, but they are tapped down for now. That was a pretty good sequence for Reid. Do you think this will be enough to bring him back in the game?
Wow.
He only has a Vessel in hand.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Emrakul's not exactly small, so I think maybe.
He's at 4 life, though.
Oh, sorry, you can shuffle and I'll get the final cut and then I'm done.
So coming up after this is Luis's second turn after Emrakul.
Right.
Currently, no cards in hand. I mean, 2 lands, but nothing impactful. So here comes his actual turn.
Yeah, he does have a clue.
He does. So he's going to go ahead and crack that immediately. Selfless Spirit. And the pass back to Reid. All right. Emrakul puts a serious clock on here.
The
Currently-
Yamamaya Coast that's face up in front of Luis is still in his hand. He's just, it's been exposed. He's being polite to remind Reid what information Reid already has.
So Vessel of Nascency, let's see what it reveals.
Ishkana.
Yeah, so he is going to choose that Ishkana, putting the rest of the cards in the graveyard.
4 to 24.
Comparing life totals. Deciding what he wants to attack with here. He knows he's under pressure from Luis, so he needs to be able to close this game out fast.
Yeah.
So considering his attacks, he's looking at definitely Emrakul. And the question is, does Ishkana want to get in? Mount is the land for Reid.
Cast this.
Yeah, so he's going to cast the Ishkana.
Make 3 spiders.
It's legendary, so he only gets to keep 1, but he wants to make a couple spiders. So he's just going to get in there with Emrakul. 13-13, flying trample. Ouch.
Trample's pretty relevant against that
Yeah,
random spirit,
indeed
too.
it is. That drops Luis down to 11. Let's see what he can piece together here.
Yeah, what is he supposed to do against Emrakul? Looks like he did draw Reflector Mage. But is that
Yeah.
good?
The fact that Ishkana brings so many spiders is a huge problem here. If Reid were put in a situation where he maybe had to attack with more creatures than he felt comfortable with, like how many spiders are left back there? Like 5? He can't do anything against this. Reflector Maging Emrakul feels bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, it basically buys him a turn. But I mean, he's going to die to Emrakul next turn.
Right.
I think he has to Reflector Mage the Emrakul. Obviously doesn't want Reid to know this while Reid figures out how to block.
Right, so Reid is lining up some blocks here for those Sylvan Advocates. Yeah, and as a reminder to everybody at home, this is a mulligan to 5 from Reid. So we've had an amazing
right.
game.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it almost seems like that couldn't have possibly been this game. So it looks like 1 chump block with one of the spiders for the first Sylvan Advocate and just all the spiders getting in front of the other Sylvan Advocate.
Luis decides he'd rather sack a spirit than lose a Sylvan Advocate.
Reflector Mage, bounce back your Emrakul.
Hey, do what you gotta
feels
do.
Bad.
Do what you gotta do.
Looks like this is Pilgrimage for Reid. Getting a couple lands out of his deck. Buying himself a turn before he replays that Emrakul. Wow, is there anything that Luis can possibly do here? We know that Emrakul's coming back down next turn. An update from one of the matches that we were watching earlier, Lucas Blohan versus Zen Takahashi. Lucas Blohan is currently up a game. That was
wow.
game 1. It took
Zen
a very long
Takahashi
time.
held on for a long time
Indeed
at very
he
low
did.
life totals.
Yikes. Here comes Emrakul back down. Collected Company. He's drawing face up because he knows this is Reid controlling his turn.
Cast.
Was that a... Oh, no. I thought it was a total whiff, but there's a Nissa there. Reid says no,
But
thank you.
there was a creature.
Oh, he doesn't want it. He can choose to reveal it. And just
It's put up to 2 creature cards.
yeah,
Reid chose 0 creature
up to
cards.
2. Nah. How about none? Off they go. Uses all of Luis's mana. No cards in hand. Away goes that Nissa, and then it's back to Luis.
Oh,
Tameo.
Tameo. That can actually tap the Emrakul.
And the Ishkana.
Wow.
Sylvan Advocate getting in there. The baby spider needs to get him under the bus, unfortunately.
Is Tameo actually enough
Wow.
to
Reid
let
needs
Luis
a creature
beat?
here.
4, right? Yep. Looks like I lose. Good news.
It's 2 lands.
Wow.
Wow.
Luis beat Emrakul.
Oh my god. That didn't
Look
seem
at that look from
possible.
Luis. Oh my god,
Wow.
Luis just beat Emrakul. That was insane.
Everyone out in the crowd went nuts after they saw that. That was insane. It didn't seem like it was winnable right there.
Yeah, and a Reflector Mage, you do what you got to do. Basically, the only card I think Luis had that could save him was
Yeah.
the Tameo to lock
Tapping
down
exactly
the Emrakul.
that. And he needed to have not enough spiders to block, and then he needed not a creature in the last turn in order to let that Sylvan Advocate get through for the last turn. That was insane.
Luis Scott-Vargas, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely making a run. Seems like he might be well en route to making this back-to-back-to-back top 8.
Got 18 years since anybody's done that.
That's nuts. Moving to one of our back matches, we're moving into Brad Nelson's versus Antonino De Rosa. Now, Brad is playing Jund Delirium. Have we seen any of this weekend, Randy? Have you at least?
I mean, there's a bunch of different variants of the Delirium deck. That's the tricky bit. Antonino tested with Pantheon. So they they have at least 3 distinct versions of Delirium-ish, Emrakul-ish decks.
Take this guy. Sure. I already have this.
All right, so taking a look at this board, Liliana on Brad Nelson's side, and Antonino with, is this a revealed World Breaker?
Okay, he's on the same
Yeah.
deck as Reid. That's what's going on. This is the red-green rampish
All right,
version
so
of
this
the
is-
Pantheon deck.
that
So
makes sense.
It looks like it's exactly Reid's 75.
Tap.
It's at least very close if it's not 75 for 75.
So a land for Antonino is just a forest so far. Looks like a couple more lands in his hand, though he does have Emrakul, the Promised End, in hand. I wonder how many Emrakuls have been cast in this match already. We've seen so much Emrakul this whole weekend, it's been insane.
It really is.
There we go. Emrakul, the Promised End. Time to control. Brad Nelson's turn. There we see it. 13 mana, 13/13. Flying Trample, protection from instants.
How are you supposed to beat this card? Does Luis get promoted?
Apparently, you have to Reflector Major, Randy. That's how
Oh,
you're
I
supposed
see.
to beat it.
Does Luis get promoted to the Gatewatch now?
He's just joining the super team. I don't understand how that was. That was insane. So Brad, considering his options here, there's a Morphin play. I wonder what it could be.
Sure.
Brad's like, I have that card in my deck too. Antonino got there first, which is the point of the red-green version.
You get grapple. Okay.
That is the deck that gets to Emrakul fastest.
Antonino De Rosa has 4 GP titles to his name. He's also a multiple U.S. national champion.
Yep.
I do not have Delirium right now. So I don't want to get grapple.
Looks like in Brad's hand we have a grapple with a pass to the slaughter. To the slaughter is pretty good against Emrakul, the Promised End.
So yeah.
have 3 types.
I have 3 right now.
Okay. You get back what?
Change grass.
Okay. Don't do anything. I want to see your hand on your upkeep.
Looks like players. Yeah, so this is Antonino controlling Brad Nelson's turn. So he's taking a look at hand on upkeep, deciding if there's anything he wants to do. He sees that to that slaughter.
Is to the slaughter target player or target opponent?
You have sorcery, instant land.
All right, so he's deciding what he wants to do with Brad Nelson's turn. Now, if you want to wreck Brad as much as you possibly can, what do you think you would do this turn?
Instant land. Okay.
Yeah, and what you just mentioned, that's what Antonino's looking into here, too. He's trying to figure out, can I deal with this to the slaughter without having my Emrakul die?
I'm going to cast this on yourself.
Yeah, he's casting to the slaughter, targeting Brad Nelson. Target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Oh, man, this is going to get Liliana as well.
You have to
Yeah, if Brad had untapped mana and could have cast that at the end of Antonino's turn to kill Emrakul, this game is completely different.
stress yourself.
But he was tapped out.
Nothing.
Or tapped below 3 anyway.
And then it's your turn.
My goodness.
That was insane.
That was insane. We've
was-
seen so many turns that have just been completely obliterated by Emrakul. It's the flavor of it is actually really nice because that's exactly what's supposed to happen.
great.
Poor Brad. Let's see how he can pick up the pieces from here.
Sure.
All right, so Mind Rack Demon for Brad.
Okay. Can I go? Can I
Does have
one
Delirium,
card
so he doesn't have to worry about taking any damage here.
I just have
4/5 Flyer doesn't do a lot against the 13/13 Flying Trample either.
Yeah, this is my 5.
Those dice are marking the number of different card types in each player's graveyard.
So yours
Just they can keep track of how much Emrakul costs. You can actually see this convention starting to emerge at the Pro Tour, where Brad's graveyard is 5 different card types laid out,
Laid
and then
out,
everything, else, in a pile.
is there. That makes a lot of sense. That would be a nice thing that people start picking up just generally in play.
Yeah, you can see Antonino's done the same thing with
Yeah.
his own graveyard.
We certainly appreciate it here in the booth, and think it
It's
would be
just
nice
polite.
for yeah.
Nobody wants to just trick the other guys about how much Emrakul costs.
Shaman of the Forgotten Ways coming down for Antonino. Some protection from the to the slaughter. Lucas Blohan has won now the match between him and Zen Takahashi. 2-0. Pick the brain, targeting Antonino.
Yeah, nothing to pick.
Wow.
Emrakul gets it done.
Emrakul's been actually. I was gonna say Emrakul keeps getting it done in the feature match, but we did see Luis's match.
Well,
That was
there's Emrakul, and then there's Luis Scott-Vargas. These are very powerful forces in the Magic world. Sometimes when they collide, you're not sure what's going to happen.
I believe that is the last match that we have in the feature match area.
Wow, that was a fun round.
That was, yeah.
Crazy round.
It was a crazy round. We saw some sick Emrakul turns, and apparently Luis, joining the Super Friends. So
He's
we
gonna
wish
get
him fun
watched
in
now.
that endeavor.
I don't know what Oath of Luis would do. I'll have to figure that out.
We're taking any and all submissions at this point. We will see what people think about it. But yeah, awesome Magic, and I don't know how many Emrakuls do you think we can expect in the top 8?
We should have started
Looks like a lot,
counter.
right?
Definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Not in Luis's, though. So Luis is now tied for second
Mm-hmm.
with Reid Duke. Right? It was Reid and Owen in first,
Yeah.
and then it was Luis and, was it, I think, Sam Pardee?
I think it was Sam Pardee, yeah.
Was the other extra? I haven't heard how Sam did this round, but I mean, Luis effectively dragged Reid down into
Yeah.
second. So they're tied for second and third right now, pending other results. Basically, one more win for either of them puts them into the top 8.
These are some exciting matches. We're getting definitely into the
We're going to get some good ones
backside
on Sunday,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
That's the other exciting part.
Yeah, I'm excited. There's going to be great Magic coming along your way, but stay tuned. Now let's see what Rich has for us over at the news desk.
You said pending other results, Randy. Well, here is the other result. While Luis Scott-Vargas was dragging down Reid Duke to 11-2, Sam Pardee was doing exactly the same thing to Owen Turtenwald. Turtenwald at 11-2. There are 4 co-leaders. One of them is waiting out on the floor with our very own Brian David Marshall.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Sam Pardee, who just got finished defeating Owen Turtenwald. And Sam, we'll talk to a lot of players, and they'll talk about being intimidated against playing against either of the Hall of Fame elect members today, Owen Turtenwald or Yuya Watanabe. But for you, playing Owen Turtenwald is old hat?
Yeah, I think we've played about 5 or 6, maybe 7 times between Grand Prix and Pro Tours. He beat me in the finals of GP Albuquerque. We were joking when we sat down that we traded wins. We played at 3 of the 4 Pro Tours this year. I beat him in Atlanta, he beat me in Madrid, and now I beat him here, so it's his turn next, I guess.
Hopefully you don't face him in the top 8. This was a huge win for you this round. Tell us about what that win represented.
Yeah, so this locks me for platinum now, assuming I don't get disqualified. I think that's unlikely. But yeah, this is my best pro season so far. I had a good finish in Atlanta, some Grand Prix success, won the team GP, and I'm locked for 51 points. One more win should lock me for top 8 and hopefully Worlds with that, which would be really awesome. That's the dream for now anyway. Then tomorrow it's to win.
So right now it's World Championship, tomorrow winning the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be pretty good for face-to-face to go back-to-back. You know, we had Steve last time. I think it's my turn.
Tell us about the deck you guys brought to the tables this time.
We're playing Green-Black Delirium. We tested a bunch. We actually bought all of the cards for a Zombies deck on Friday before the Grand Prix, thinking, oh, this deck's awesome. Then we kept testing, and that wasn't working out so good, so we switched to Delirium, which luckily let us still use our Lilianas, so that whole investment didn't go to waste. And the deck's been performing really well. We had the best constructed win percentage on day 1 as a team, and we're doing very well today, I think, or at least I am, so I'm happy with the choice. It's a lot of fun to play.
So it was green-white humans for you guys at the last Pro Tour, and green-white tokens.
Yeah, green-white tokens.
And now you're reanimating the dead. Liliana hanging out behind you, watching on approvingly near the feature match area. Brian David Marshall signing off with Sam Pardee.
Thanks very much to BDM and Sam Pardee. I can tell, Sam, that, yeah, things are going very well for East West Bowl. Andrew Brown was one of the flag bearers yesterday. He continues to win. He is up to 10 wins and 3 losses. Now, from his point of view, the key is, can he get to 12 wins? Yes, he wants the top 8, but more importantly, he will go platinum with 12 and 4. Now, think realistically, he's going to end up with both if he hits that 12-4 mark. We're not certain that everyone on 12-4 will get in, but it is looking much more likely than your typical Pro Tour, where we would say 12 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. 37 points would be required, and 12-4, everyone's sweating. Not like that, because we're at 302 players here. So that's what we're looking at as we head to round 14 with 4 co-leaders of the Pro Tour. Luis Scott-Vargas in the Hall of Fame. Owen Turtenwald about to be in the Hall of Fame, elected this year. Reid Duke, 11 and 2. Surely one day he'll be in the Hall of Fame. And Sam Pardee, you've just heard from him there from East West Bowl. Can they go back to back? We'll find out. 3 rounds to go, and then 3 amazing sets of matches coming your way tomorrow. Bubbling up rather nicely. And I'm delighted to say that it's time for another Deck Tech across the studio. Ian Duke is waiting for us, and my favorite archetype of the lot. None of your graveyard matters nonsense. Let's get down to business with Esper Control.